So we have officially, well, not officially. By the time you're listening to this, we have officially made it to the end of the NBA season. For us, we are waiting for one more game. I guess continuity-wise, it is the 12th of April. Tomorrow, April 13th, will be the last round of games, and surprisingly, a lot of unknown with those last few games. So we're obviously going to jump into that and give a little bit of a play-in tournament preview. Because obviously that will be what play-in starts on the 15th, playoff starts on the 18th. So, will obviously happen before we have our next recording and we can start breaking down playoff stuff. But we're essentially here. We are at NBA playoff season. Though you wouldn't know from the weather here in Florida, it was freezing cold. It hailed yesterday.
Look at me, bro. I got the beanie and a hoodie on. I feel like I'm about to go rob a bank or something. I didn't think I'd have the beanie back on having to record up here on April 12th.
Now, subtle flex, when I was in Orlando to explore Epic Universe for the media exclusive preview with as I say on the side, with 8,000 other TikTokers that wanted to dance in front of every damn park attraction. Bro, it was so funny. So our group, way off topic, our group was all radio people.
Right.
And not to hate on TikTokers at all, because I think there is a place for content creation and stuff like that. So I get what they were doing. But the radio guys, like when we're in radio, like we're there to enjoy, take some pictures, take some videos. We will recap later. Let's enjoy the moment so that we can then talk about it and really have a fun time. The content creators were not trying to do that. They were trying to like dance in front of all the rides and attractions and see all these things and find the exclusive moment that no one else is going to film and all that stuff. And so two of our radio friends ended up in a group with the TikTokers. They got to ride 2 rides the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
We rode every single one twice, if not 3 times, and they were so pissed off.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd be livid. And I mean, that's part of the and you're right. I think there is a place for content creation. Like, I'm not trying to slam and dunk on social media people. Get your money.
I've been watching all of them. The videos they put out was great. I met this guy, Straw Hat Goofy, I think is his name on TikTok. Dude was so nice. I bought him an old fashioned, we had a good time. But yeah. he when he told me that, I was like, I don't know who you are. And he's like, oh, really? I got 4 million followers on TikTok. And I was like, dude, that's sick. I don't live like that in that world a little bit,
I would say that to any, I don't have TikTok on my phone. I get it, but also I don't know. If anybody told me they had 1 million views on TikTok, I'm like, I don't know who you are on the app.
Mm-hmm.
You're not I think you got to get to a certain level with certainly content creators cross over and become into the mainstream and stuff. Obviously
sure.
Mr. Beast being the biggest example of that, but
yeah. And I think this guy Straw Hat was kind of like that. His content, because I did look him up because I was curious, is a lot of theme park and superhero and shows and Marvel lore. He really knows that stuff, comic books. He definitely does know that stuff from watching his videos, but that's his lane and that's not my lane. So that's why it wouldn't have popped up on my For You page or, really anything. So,
well, and you're right though, in the sense that for you going as a radio person, because you're recapping on the air later, because you'll get content for the website and other things like that. But you're right. That is one of the parts of, I feel like when people think they're content creating and you hear oh, you're going to Epic Universe, you're right though, when you actively have to crank out content like that, it is work. It's not as much
right.
You're not on a vacation. Yes, no. I'm not saying you're working hard in the coal mines either, but
right.
It is an element of work. You're not there just chilling and having a good time and just riding these rides nonstop.
And they were really into we got to get the video out first before everyone else here. So I'm the first person with the picture of Epic Universe out there. I got what they were doing. I just knew I wasn't going to be that person, my content isn't that. So that's just not what I needed to do. So, let them do their thing. I'm going to go enjoy the rides. And afterwards, while I'm sitting at the bar watching, some March Madness with an old fashioned, I'll kind of cut together some videos and put them out there. So that's what I did. And we had a good old time with it. So all that to say.
Shout out to the Gators for winning March Madness, by the way. That's official.
Won me my bracket, baby. Hell yeah.
I'm happy for you. I'm glad you won your bracket. With 2 games left to go, I was in the position to win $1,800 and a $250 Amazon gift card, and I won none of those things because Auburn and Duke both went down. I was feeling good about Duke. I mean, Auburn against Florida, I felt less solid about because of how Florida was playing. I mean, once Florida beat Texas Tech, I was like, oh, they might have some like Houdini stuff going on.
It's objectively wild to me that the Gators won that game, and I think they had the lead for 17 seconds total.
Yeah. Houston.
That's the kind of game, though, you show kids. You show, like, you never give up on a game, even though you've been down the whole time. Like, you don't give up because – I get it. You can get down by 20, 40, 50, whatever it is. And then it's like, okay, we are out of this thing. But like at no point did that team give up. There was a lot of players that had shooting issues and they weren't hitting shots and they just kept grinding it out. And you only really need to have the lead for 1 second if it's at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, look, yeah, they excelled late big time in all these games. I mean, even Houston had a double-digit lead in the championship, and then I mean, Houston not being able to get a shot off at the end is brutal. Unfortunately, when he got caught midair, you gotta readjust and take it. Like that's where it should
at least huck it up there. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like it's such a body twitch moment to just like have to adjust. But
it's the shot that I'm trying. It gets lost because Chris Jenkins then obviously hit the shot to win the title for Nova. But it's the shot. I'm blanking on Buddy's name right now. But the shot before that, the double pump shot that North Carolina hit to tie that game, and what set up for overtime. And then obviously though Chris Jenkins stepped in with the heroics for Nova. Florida was just great at the end of these games. I mean, they just simply excelled in late game offense. First championship for the Gators since the back-to-back run with, Al Horford and Corey Brewer and Joakim Noah and all those guys. Maurice Spates.
What a team.
Yeah, a lot of and I mean, they all came back. Like that was the big thing too, is they all turned down big time NBA contract. And again, most of them had pretty long and successful NBA careers to say the least, but that's still kind of rare in the modern era for sure.
Well, and even what's his name with the transfer to the Gators, like that's a big part of the college sports in general right now with transfer portals and NIL and all that stuff. Like that's a big part of it too. And so even now, if you're like, they stayed back, it's like, okay, well, back then they did because they had to turn down money. This time it's like you might be able to make more money staying at the college for another year than going and being a rookie in the NBA, depending on where you go and what you're going to make and where you'll sit in that situation. So
yeah,
it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy to see that. So at least back to NBA and the play-in tournament that is down the line. The East is fully set, so we'll start over there as the West is less set and has a lot of different options.
There's a lot going on in the West, and like I said, we're gonna get to Mike Malone too, obviously. There's a whole lot going on over there.
Yeah, like what is happening, guys? But either way, in the East, 4 teams are set. Atlanta will play Orlando. I'm actually kind of excited for that matchup. That feels good. I like that matchup. They're going to meet as the 8 and 7 seeds, while we will have 9 and 10 play as the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat. That I care about a lot less, to put it nicely. I mean, seriously, I guess the other question is like, do you think, and we kind of already had this conversation, like none of those 4 are going to come out and make any noise after the play-in tournament?
No, and I mean, I think you would, an optimist in me, and this is going to be me being a semi-homer, and I know you're going to groan, but it's like you knew you're going to groan. Orlando won 5 in a row to end the season, and so it's like the problem is they're going to play ball. Like I had this discussion with my buddies in Orlando in the group chat, including our guy Sam Albuquerque. Shout out to Sam for filling in last week. But we were discussing, it's like, if you're Orlando, you don't want to risk knocking yourself out, but it's like, you want to throw this game and avoid Boston in the first round. Like Boston's kind of gearing up, and like like, look, I'm not saying Cleveland's a better opponent. Like, you're probably losing the series no matter what, but I don't know. I still feel a little better about Cleveland than I do against Boston, but I don't think, just due to the seeding, I don't think there's really, I think Orlando is going to win the 7-8 game, and I think they're going to be 7, and I think they're going to lose to Boston in the first round. I think if there's a spicy take, I think the winner of Chicago Miami, which I think is going to be Chicago, I think Chicago is going to knock Atlanta out. And that's my, play in spicy take, if you will. I think Chicago is going to get in as 8 and then promptly lose to Cleveland. Like, I don't think there's anything further beyond that. But
they are cooking, though. I will say the Heat are also 7-3 in their last 10.
They are. I don't know. There's this Heat team just without post Jimmy. It's just like when it gets late in the offense, I still don't. I know Heroes had a good season, but I don't know. I just don't trust these guys right now. I think Chicago's going to find a way there.
Just an observation to counter, I guess, a little bit of your Magic take. The Cavs are the only team in the Eastern Conference that have not lost double-digit games at home. They are 34-6 at home.
Yeah.
Celtics, a little less. They're 27-13. Actually, Celtics are weirdly better on the road. They haven't lost double-digit games on the road, which is worth noting. But I think you're doomed regardless of who you play out of those two.
Their best case scenario would have been.
Yeah,
their best case scenario would have been to get in the middle and have one of these teams here where it's like, and I mean, look, the middle of this conference, like New York versus Detroit, Indiana versus Milwaukee, like we kind of got some cinema in the Eastern Conference. I really like both of those first round series. I think they're going to be super entertaining matchups. The Knicks, some late game offense questions as of late. That game against Cleveland the other night, I feel like was a little, at least my temperature on my New York friends is that felt a little like more eyebrow raising than it's been in the past.
Yeah.
Which again, the Knicks have 50 wins, and for Detroit, it's the question of who's going to step up and carry that secondary load come playoff time. Like, we know what Cade Cunningham is, but it's like they've been getting major contributions from, the Malik Beasleys of the world, for example. It's going to be a question of they have this identity that has worked for them all year. And shout out to JB Bickerstaff, like potential coach of the year candidate. I mean, they really are, like, no matter what happens, this Detroit season is an unbelievable success. I mean, you want to talk about one of the most improbable turnarounds that we've seen in quite a little bit here. And with that, like, you're right, like they're coming in here and they're playing with no pressure. Like, you're going to the Knicks. The Knicks, if the Knicks lose to Detroit, it's a disaster for the Knicks. I mean, it's fully like you're having some difficult conversations, I think, if the Knicks lose to Detroit in the first round. And so in a way, though, I think for the Pistons, like there's a little bit of like relief in that. You get to play free, you get to play your style of basketball, kind of knowing that it's house money.
Play a little bully ball and just be like, look, man, you got all to lose. I got nothing to lose here. That would be really upsetting for the Pistons. I did want to just reiterate, like you mentioned from last season, they were 14-68. They are 44-37 this year.
I mean, bro, how many did they lose in a row? They lost 30 in a row, right? Like,
so yeah, it doesn't. I don't have it right here.
28. It was 28. But it was the longest in NBA history.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like that is significantly great turnaround.
Monty Williams should never have a head coaching job again. That's my big takeaway. Is good Lord, like how I mean. And I don't think JB Bickerstaff, that's what's crazy, is like, I don't even think he's a super great coach. Like, we've kind of seen the JB Bickerstaff cycle play out, but it's just like him being average alone is getting this team back into, and I mean, they did a good job bringing some vets in too. Like, I do think it was a pretty young roster last year, but like, they just were running out some of these, like, all bench lineups that Monty Williams are running. Like, it was brutal. And I mean, that's with, you look at how Jaden Ivey, pre-injury especially had played as well, compared to last year. You look at, Osar Thompson looked good last year, I think a little bit, but now his continued growth there.
There's a chance for the Knicks, actually, by the way, just want to point this out. If they lose tomorrow, right? I think that's their next game. If they lose tomorrow, they'll have the exact same record as last year, 50-32, like on the dot. 50-32.
Yeah, which is not bad necessarily.
No, like that's so weird to me. Like even the Pacers are up 2 wins. They were 47 last year. Um, but to me, if you told me to just generally guess the vibe on the Knicks Pacers this season compared to last season, I would say I feel like the Pacers are down a little bit and the Knicks are up. And really, I mean, the Pacers got 2 more wins, and the Knicks are gonna maybe go even or have 1 extra win.
Yeah.
So, from like a Pacers standpoint, I feel like that says something a little bit. But
we also get the underrated rivalry with Pacers and Bucks. We get the over the Giannis game ball beef. We get that little rivalry going. But I mean, this is a fun series. Like, I mean, the Bucks ended the season pretty strong. Like for all the ups and downs that they've been there, they won 7 in a row here. Kind of rounding into form a little bit. They had a kind of a little bit of a Giannis and Malik Beasley went at it a little bit night when they were the other night when the Bucks were playing Detroit. But I mean, again, yeah, Pacers coming straight off the conference finals last year. Like we said, 2 more wins. It feels like they're another team that's starting to round into shape. I said a few weeks ago that I feel like that they're probably the most slept on team in the Eastern Conference, and they're not getting enough credit considering they're running it back again. The point is both of these series to me are like potential 6-7 gamers. Like these to me can really run the distance. I don't know. Like again, I'm going to lean Indy. I'm not going to get off that. I just think I think Milwaukee's been too up and down this year. Again, I don't know without Dame if they're just going to have enough firepower. But
okay, I got a good one for you. In the Eastern Conference, you have to pick 1 sweep, 1 7-game series, and 1 upset.
Okay,
what's it going to be?
Are we counting Chicago over Atlanta as my play-in upset, or I'll get less chalky than that.
Okay,
if I'm gonna go with the sweep, I'm gonna go. I think Cleveland will sweep whoever comes out of the play-in at 8. I think that is likely. Boston would be my other one, but I'm gonna give Orlando the gentleman's sweep there. I think they get to 5. If I'm looking at a 7-gamer, I think it's probably the Knicks and the Pistons, honestly. And, the best case scenario for the Knicks is that they just close this out in 5. Like, I think if you feel really good if you're the Knicks, if you just dominate this series. I don't know, though. Like, Detroit's been feisty all year. I mean, the other one is Indy and Milwaukee. I could see Indy and Milwaukee going 7-2, but I think that kind of ends in 6. I'm going to give Indy a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there.
Okay. It's worth mentioning the Bucks are on a 7-game win streak going
into. I know.
Yeah, I know they got another one, but yeah.
The upset, I mean, that's the thing is it's like if you want to pick the most likely upset, like do you call the Bucks over the Pacers at upset? Like I know it's a 5-4 upset, but like can't really say I'm stepping out on a ledge on that one.
Right. No, I agree.
I don't know. Then I guess it has to be Detroit and New York off the just probability. I think that's the only one. Like I don't think Boston and Cleveland are getting upset in the first round, pending something drastic happening.
That'd be wild.
Like injury
that would
related.
be
Basically injury related. That's the only way I could think about it. Like, so to that sense, I guess Detroit would be my most likely. I think there's a scenario where Detroit beats New York. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think the Knicks are going to win the series, but you can talk me into like a few scenarios where that happens.
Okay. All right. No, I can get behind that. I think I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I think Cavs, Celtics, either of those two might be an easy nomination for obvious sweep, which is how it should go with a 1 and 2 seed. But
right.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there.
We're gonna so we'll talk more in heavy detail about the West when we get into Mike Malone after the break. But before we get there, we do want to mention the few things that are settled. OKC is 1, Houston is 2, the Lakers are officially locked into 3. Memphis will be in the play-in. They are going to be either 8 or 7, depending on how some of this shakes out. And then our matchup for 9 and 10 is going to be the Kings and the Mavericks. Do you have any early thoughts, predictions on that game? Sacramento has lost 2 in a row. They also close one of the Clippers last night. Dallas, Anthony Davis is back now. They've been about 500 these last, 10 and 10 or 5 and 5 in the last 10.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't. It feels like both teams are so on a downslope. Obviously, the Mavericks a little more than the Kings, though. The Kings being, whatever. But the game doesn't excite me at all, and that's the weird part.
No, it doesn't.
And the game doesn't excite me at all. And honestly, whoever the Grizzlies end up having to play kind of excites me more. Like, that is the part of the fun. Again, we could go down how I feel like I accidentally cursed the Grizzlies into this scenario, because when I decided to be a fan of them, we were at a 3 seed, I think it was. And that was like, what, 2.5 weeks ago, maybe? Like, it really wasn't that long ago.
Now they're in the play-in.
Monumental slide. Although it's worth saying, like, the games are so damn close. Like, it's worth mentioning, like, the Lakers went on an amazing run. They're sitting 3. They're sitting third in the West. But even that's, like, they're just above the Nuggets and Clippers, who will, be some form of 4-5, probably 4-5-6, depending on how things, lay out and potential tiebreakers and things like that. But they're just a game above. It's 49 wins, 48 wins. Grizzlies are 47. So, like, yes, I think in the West, the big descriptor is the Grizzlies are in the play-in tournament. But that's that 7-8 matchup, that matchup that'll happen there is significantly higher than the 9-10. Who have 39 wins. And so that's the part. Like, you look at the Eastern Conference, and it's like the Hawks are 38, the Bulls are, or the Hawks are 39, the Bulls are 38, right? Like, one game separates the 9-10, 8-7 matchup, whereas Kings Mavericks are 39, Grizzlies are 47. Like, there's a significant difference. So it's worth mentioning that I think, teams in the West, whether it's Timberwolves, Warriors, Clippers, or whoever it is that ends up playing the Grizzlies in that tournament, like, it's a very different feel than the tournament in the East.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's crazy because the top, like, you're right with the play-in for sure, but it's like the top isn't really that different. So it's like, normally you'd be like, oh man, if Memphis was in the East, they'd be number 2. And in the past, it'd be that crazy. Where, like, it's not that draft. Memphis would be out of the play-in, but, like, Memphis would be around 4 right now. It'd be around 4 or 5. Or they'd be at 5 with 47 wins. They have the same amount of wins as Milwaukee does. So, like, yeah, a little bit better, but you're right. It certainly feels like the Western Conference, as per the course in the NBA the past decade or so, has been a much more difficult tournament overall. You think the potential for upsets is there, where we don't, we talked with 1 and 2 in the East, where you don't think it is. I do think Sacramento is going to win this 9-10 game. Like, first off, they're at home. I'm going to default to that as well.
That's fair.
But just in general, God, Dallas, man, them making the play-in bracket where it's like we're in is just so disappointing for them. It's like, on top of everything, it's like, cool, guys, great, I'm glad we're here.
You did it. But also,
but then it's also like, we'll talk Phoenix later in the show. But, like, that's what's also crazy is it's like, for everything Dallas has done, they still found a way to limp in and get in this spot. Like, Phoenix here had everybody and went 2-8 when it mattered down the stretch.
You still couldn't limp in with Kevin Durant and Booker and just the team that you have around. Like, you couldn't limp in over Mavericks, who, not that long ago couldn't put out more than 7 players because of injury and trading away players. Like,
and that's what's disappointing too, is it's just like, for Dallas, like, I would be, if I knew there was a chance Kyrie was coming back with Anthony Davis back in the lineup, like, I actually might be intrigued about Dallas a little bit. Like, in spite of everything that's happened, like, I did maintain that there was a window where this works a little bit, and, at least for that yearish or so. But that's just, again, part of it, where it's like, Kyrie's out. This team clearly has a limited ceiling. I don't think, I mean, spoiler alert, I think Memphis is going to lose the 7-8 game. And so whoever gets Memphis, I still think probably loses to Memphis, but, like, maybe there's a world, like, that's an upset potential. Like, I could see, again, the way that Memphis has struggled down the stretch if they get bounced in that 8-9 game. But then either way, like, cool, your reward is OKC. Good luck.
Right. That's what I mean. And that's always, I mean, I feel like that was kind of the argument with the play-in tournament. It's like, cool, you play in to just get absolutely worked by a 1 seed. Like,
a radically different feel around Dallas and Oklahoma City in the playoffs this year, if that were to be the scenario.
Right. Although I think too, for the Warriors, that would be kind of disappointing to end up in the play-in tournament. Maybe I would say probably Timberwolves being the highest disappointment, just because of how good they were last year. I think did they go in as a 3 seed? They were
I mean, they were in the conference finals, so if nothing else, like I don't remember the seed exactly, but
they were. So last year it was Thunder, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Clippers, Mavs. So, now it's Thunder, Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets. What a change of
You're right. Sorry, I just got distracted because I was looking at the schedule for Sunday, and last night's scores obviously pop up, and I just remember that Miami put 153 on the Pelicans last night, and it was like, look, I know the Pelicans aren't doing much right now, but Miami with 153, good for them.
Yeah, Lord.
I mean, everybody had. I think they had how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they had 9 players in double digits. 10, also, excuse me. My bad. Waquez was hidden down here on the depth chart a little bit. He had 11 as well.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, man. I mean, look, at that point, everyone's just trying to get their thing done,
the biggest games. So, my bad. Sorry, just go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I just want to add on to the downfall of the Memphis Grizzlies, as I am now a fan. The other part, it's not my Fallin, so it's at least worth mentioning. I don't know if you saw, but John Morant got fined for using a finger gun taunt.
Now he's lobbing grenades.
No, lobbing grenades.
I'm sorry. Lobbing grenades is objectively hilarious. That is hysterical to me. And I know, I get it, but that's funny.
I saw a video of someone pretending to be John Morant, and his next celebration was a guy jumping on someone and pretending to stab him a bunch of times. Dude.
I mean, that's way worse, honestly.
Way worse, but also, Ja, come on. Your team limped into the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
The last thing you need is more distractions. You're about to go up against any combo of those teams probably going to be favored against you. And you're out here probably getting fined again. I don't know if he got fined for the grenade thing, but dude.
Well, so, and now, I mean, the game to watch on Sunday is Golden State, and who you mentioned a little bit ago, in the Clippers. That's electric. That's a playoff game, essentially, right there. Big time seeding implications at stake. I mean, Anthony Edwards is not going to play in the last game, which we're going to talk about a little bit either, which is kind of crazy. But at least they have Utah.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Timberwolves. No, because so Clippers lose, they go to 48. I think the Timberwolves might have the tiebreaker on that
against Clippers.
I think so. Don't quote me on that, but there could be a scenario. I think there's a scenario in that situation. Clippers lose. Obviously, if Clippers lose, and who are the Timberwolves playing?
Utah.
Okay. So Timberwolves win,
right.
And
Denver has.
I mean, there's a chance.
Denver has Houston.
But I think I'd be willing to bet the because Nuggets aren't listed on my sheet here. It's just Warriors, Clippers, Minnesota battling to stay out of the final play-in spot. So from a Clippers standpoint, you could be 5th on the going into the last day and end up being 7th, having to play the Grizzlies in the play-in tournament.
Right, which would be crazy because again, given how well the Clippers have ended, and that's something we'll talk about in a little bit. Right. We'll dive more into the West because obviously we've got a lot to talk about with Denver as well. Welcome everybody to the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. My name is Kevin Rafuse. Joining me as always, my co-host Justin Cousart.
This league out of pocket, man. What's going on? Firing good coaches right before the playoffs is nasty work.
It is nasty work, honestly. I completely agree with this tweeter. I don't know who it was, but I agree with this tweeter.
He is on the Pelicans.
Oh, okay. It's CJ McCollum. Okay. Yeah. I did see that. Yeah. I mean, listen, I did. Again, it's so hard to have anything shock you after the Luka trade, right? It's in this season. It's what could possibly happen that could be more ridiculous than that?
Here we are.
Taylor Jenkins was pushing it. I was like, Taylor Jenkins, there were 9 games left. It was they're firing Taylor with 9 to go. That's crazy. They fired Mike Malone with 3 games left. Mike Malone is the winningest coach in Nuggets history. He's the only coach in Nuggets history to win a title. And they fired him with 3 games left in the season. That is bananas. And we're going to talk about it again after the break. But oh my goodness, that's wild, dude. That is truly wild.
I I'll save it for after the break, but I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, you see the reports that are coming out now that it was whatever, locker room was toxic or no one was happy, but like, what's going on, man? Like,
Yeah.
So we can,
It was definitely kind of crazy. There's no doubt about it, a whole lot of different ways to look at it, but just it's wild, if nothing else. There's no doubt about it. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. I'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Player FM, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
And we are on YouTube. Just hit up Drive and Dish NBA on YouTube. You can watch video versions of the podcast there. And obviously, when you subscribe, you'll get notifications in YouTube when new episodes are coming out.
And now a word from our sponsors.
So, yeah. Nuggets moving on from the coach with just days left in the season. When your buddy Chase texted me that, I was actually out working an event for the radio station, and he just said Malone, WTF. And I was like, oh God, what happened with the Nuggets? Like, did he get into a car accident? Like, that's what I thought. I thought something horrible.
Whoa, man, he went to way worse place to me.
Dude, I thought something, I was like, oh no, what happened? Like, so I looked it up and I was like, they did what?
Yeah.
And from all things I can remember, he was always hyping up Jokic, and he was definitely like the tough guy a little bit, but he obviously got them to the promised land. And so all intents and purposes felt like they were going to make and still are, we're going to make a run at it for this year. I mean, they're sitting fourth in the West. They're one win away from a 50-win season. It's a little mind-blowing that that's where we are right now.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing because, again, just it's happened before in NBA history, but it's been quite a long time. It's been since the 80s when it tied a record for a coach firing with the least amount of games to play. And like, look, the Nuggets have been sputtering since the All-Star break. They're 12-13. It's something that we've talked about. Like, they just don't look. And I mean, it's something that Sam and I had a larger discussion about last week, because Sam doesn't think the Lakers, like, he thinks the Lakers should be trying to avoid the Nuggets at all cost, and then is like less scared of the Thunder. And I'm like, that to me makes absolutely no sense given like what Denver's looked like. And I get the fear of Jokic, because Jokic is out here having one of the best individual seasons of all time, and like probably should be winning his 4th MVP, especially again given everything that's happened here and what this roster has done. And apparently, like, so the reports have come out is that because they fired GM Calvin Booth too, and I think that's where you got a little both. And apparently, which is more interesting, because again, all the reports are saying that Malone and Booth didn't get along, that they weren't happy with the direction of the team, that they had just different views of where they were going, and that it by all accounts created a pretty toxic environment that frankly just winning kind of masks. Like, winning can mask that a long time.
Yeah,
obviously were to the title that they won 2 years ago. And I mean, really, I think you look back and that's where it's been the move since the title. And I guess that's why I'm like, I blame the GMing way more than I blame the coaching here. Like, when you win the championship, you're going to lose some players. And I mean, that happened. It happened right away with Bruce Brown. It happened right away with Jeff Green. Like, those are important roster guys. And they've since then, though, they've let other key pieces walk away. You let Kentavious Caldwell-Pope walk. You dumped Reggie Jackson for basically with a pick attached to it. So on top of that, you let him go. Like, these are guys that made key contributions on title teams. And, you brought Aaron Gordon back. You've got Jamal Murray on this big max deal, which unfortunately just like that's something that you can't really blame him for. Like, Jamal Murray just dealt with a ton of injury issues. Like, he was healthy for the run, but just, you don't know if he's going to be able to consistently stay healthy. Michael Porter has been good, but he probably hasn't been the player you hoped he would develop into. They did bring Aaron Gordon back, but they've kind of bet on a lot of these younger guys, developing, and they just haven't necessarily developed into those guys to keep them truly in the title mix. You brought in Russell Westbrook. That obviously has, had ramifications, I think. And there was a little bit of talk with favoritism with Mike Malone as well, and given Westbrook maybe a longer leash than he should have been. Like, the vibe was definitely off. I'm with you. But I also just, like, again, I really struggle to fire the most winning coach in franchise history who just won a title a few years ago with 3 games left in the season. Like, that to me reeks of, we have no idea what we're doing. We're kind of an unserious, like, who do you think you are? Like, I get that the Denver Nuggets have Jokic and that they've been in contention here, but it's like, what type of franchise do you think you are that you can pull this off here all of a sudden? Like, I get you won the title, but like, y'all haven't been this consistent winner for the past 30 years that you can just do this. Like, I don't think Mike Malone is a guy you casually get rid of. And that's, I think Mike is known to be abrasive a little bit. Like, that was the rep in Sacramento. That's been the rep in Denver. And I mean, he called the team out pretty recently. Like, he had some pretty pointed comments against his own roster, but I don't know. Mike's also won everywhere he's been. And that's kind of one of my things is like, I look at this roster, I don't go, coaching's the problem. And I know you're trying to, ownership came out and said they're trying to maximize this season. I don't know. I don't think firing the coach with 3 games left, like, that to me shows, if anything, we're just kind of throwing up the white flag on the season. Not that we're going to compete and try to win a title.
Yeah, it feels like you're bailing out, and it feels like you let those little viral clips of Jokic being frustrated and Aaron Gordon's exchange on the bench, and I think there was another one of Aaron Gordon trying to like get a huddle going, and
Jamal Murray's like, nah.
Yeah, Murray's like, nah. So like, to me, it seems like you saw all this viral stuff with some of the stuff maybe you're hearing on the back end, and we're like, okay, we got to do something here that might just kind of ignite a push into the playoffs, and it's like, cool, you maybe in a way chose sides, but like, now you're going into the playoffs with not your coach that you've had the whole season, and that's not going to go well, especially like you said, when or if you go up in OKC, where you need that kind of understanding or expertise, or someone that's knows what they're doing in that moment to make those adjustments, because that's playoffs is really where you do see the coaching stuff kind of come through a little bit. So it's a weird looking, kind of to your point. I think it's something that other coaches look at too and go like, is this the kind of thing you're willing to do to a coach that you respect potentially and has been there with you guys for so long and got you the most win, like you were saying, winning as coach and got you to the promised land? You're gonna kind of on the back end just get rid of him last second, and all reports are coming out that Malone was not calm when that happened. He was pretty loud about it and was pissed off, which if that's the case, then that means it did come as a surprise to him, as it would, I think, to any coach who gets the axe right before the playoffs. So not a good look. Maybe there's more that we don't know yet, but even so, I don't know how much more could come out that would really make us go, oh yeah, that makes sense, you should do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, look, there's some controversy around the younger players and whether Mike was letting them play. Zeke Naji didn't really get a ton of minutes at 4. He's been good there. There was playing Westbrook over Brown. Like there's, but I mean, and that speaks to almost the differences in belief they had. Like Calvin Booth was trying to bring in the young guys to supplement this roster. I think Mike Malone was probably frustrated. A lot of the guys walked that we talked about, where these guys that had already won a championship. Like when you have a player like Jokic, you obviously are trying to maximize every year you can. Like you don't know, frankly, if you're ever going to get a player this good ever again. And so to that token, like I don't know. It definitely seems like they were on different pages, but then that also brings up where it's like, hey, if you're on different pages, why'd you fire both? Like, that's kind of crazy too. Like you knock your GM out. Like, not that, we're not quite at the draft yet. It's not like this is some major thing, but yeah, I'm, usually you pick one or the other. And in this case, getting rid of both was kind of crazy.
Well, and that's too, they kind of were talking about like the Cold War between the two and everything that was going on there. So, I mean, whatever. But yeah, I just look at it and I'm like, what the hell, man? That seems like you said, just back to the last comment on it, I guess, is it seems like the white flag on the season and a wasted Jokic season. Here we are.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they're still going to make the playoffs. They can avoid the play-in scenario. I mean, play-in would obviously be worst-case scenario, but like they still can get in. But you're right; it just doesn't seem now like they have the firepower to, go be the title team, which is disappointing in a year when Jokic is playing so well. And now you're right; like you want to talk about having to nail your off season, like there's no smoke out there with Jokic leaving yet. Like, I don't think you need to be worried about that. He hasn't indicated that he's wanted to play anywhere than Denver. You've won a title, so there's a little bit of good grace there. But, these are the type of moves where it's like, you don't think it's going to happen, but you start to be on alert a little bit more. Like, we got to see, if they're back in the play-in mix next year instead of kind of closer to the title, those whispers are going to start to get louder.
I think if I'm Jokic, now Nuggets fans would be upset about it, but I think that if he was not a part of wanting the coach gone, I think Jokic would have every right to demand a trade at that point, to be like, look, you guys wasted my season, depending on how this runs out. You got rid of the coach. I want out. Conveniently, one day ago, there was a rumor about Jokic to the Knicks, because of course there is. So.
Sam texted me, and he was like, he sent some Jokic to the Lakers thing, and I just sent him back. I was like, greed is a sin, my brother.
Dude, chill. And your boy Chase, you got to check him, because he was telling me how he's going to end up in Orlando because there's horse farms nearby and all this stuff. And I was like,
I'm like, wait, I thought you were saying he was going back to Orlando. I was like, why Chase go? I was like, what's Chase want to do with a horse farm?
He's like, Jokic, he doesn't really like the big time. He doesn't need to live in a city.
Do you think Jokic is going to go live up in Ocala?
Yes, that's literally what
horse country in Orlando is an hour and change away. It's not next
Ocala.
door.
He said Ocala. He's like, yeah, Jokic would just spend his time up in Ocala with some horses, man. He'd be all into it.
I appreciate that. I also think if he's that interested in going to horses, he can also just, go to Texas or something like that and have literally all the land all the time.
OKC?
I mean,
that'd be crazy.
They owe the money. They got to pay everybody now. Where are they going to?
The thing is, Trey, you got a lot of young guys that deserve money. Use that to.
I mean, OKC is the type of franchise that would actually could put a haul together to make a trade. I mean, yeah, the value, good Lord, I don't even want to know. Yo, out of your averaging triple double, I don't even want to know what the value is going to be. It'd be so unfathomable. Though, I guess, Luka broke everything too in that regard. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the West, everybody that's, like you said, Denver's trying to avoid. I mean, Denver's at 4 right now. Clippers are at 5. Golden State's at 6. Minnesota does, with having Utah, is huge for them. And Golden State having the Clippers, like, it would certainly, the Clippers winners of 7 in a row going into this, like 9-1 overall. Like, the Clippers are playing the best out of these teams right now, and that is saying something, because I think Golden State is playing really well right now, and I think Minnesota, for the most part, has done what we said they needed to do, and that's take advantage of a softer schedule down the stretch. Yeah, Clippers Warriors is must-see TV. Like, that's one of those teams going to play-in does feel wrong. The Clippers are 3-0 against the Warriors this season, so that is something worth watching. Obviously, though, a different Warriors roster than we've seen for most of the season. Warriors had tough loss. Warriors are gonna beat themselves up big time over that loss to San Antonio the other night if they're in the play-in. How about Harrison Barnes getting his revenge years later, hitting that game-winning shot in that one? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, Ant certainly made it interesting by, getting another technical and getting himself suspended for that last Utah game. But, like, if you're Minnesota and you can't beat the tied for the worst team in the league, Utah Jazz, who have won 17 games this season, then you know what? You deserve to be in the play-in.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. So I'm almost chalked Timberwolves up to a win. I think it would be so deflating, really, for either Warriors Clippers. Like, it would be so deflating to go on a 7-3 or 9-1 run in the last 10 to make this final push into playoffs, just to fall short and end up in the play-in. And if I remember correctly, the Warriors were in it last year too. So then having to do it 2 years in a row is like, dang, man.
Warriors have never won in the play-in, I think, too. It's like, and I would like their chances more this year, but I've got a spicy take, though. I want to take your tempo on this, because Sam and I talked about this a little bit last week. So if you're 6, I think 4 and 5, I feel like, as crazy as it sounds, I feel like somebody's got to want Denver right now. The Lakers are playing great. I probably, like, Lakers are playing as good as anybody right now out west. If you're Minnesota, or you're the Golden State Warriors, or you're the Clippers, Do you want number 7 so that you get Houston in the first round? Houston, a team who, while they have been great all year, I think they're well coached. I think there's a lot of young talent there. Like they are going to be a force for a while. Houston's also never been here with this core before. And so there's a part where you're like, does that playoff inexperience, like, do you want that more than maybe going up against Luka Doncic and LeBron James at 3?
Mm, prob
Like, obviously, it's a big risk because if you lose, you get OKC, or you might even be out. Like, that's the thing. But I would like to think that Minnesota, Clippers, Golden State would not find themselves in a scenario where they're getting eliminated by the winner of Sacramento and Dallas. Like, that would be insane to me.
I think, and I'd have to go deeper on it. I think it would come down to like how those specific team, the roster of those team match up against the two. Because like from a Timberwolves standpoint, like obviously with Ant you can push the pace, but like Gobert, if you can slow it down and kind of like big man bully them a little bit more. I know the Lakers like center's situation was always up in question after Anthony Davis left, so that might be like the angle you take on it. Again, this is such a eagle-eyed, got to look at it view. I would say from a talent perspective, in terms of talent that has been in the playoffs, yeah, I probably lean Rockets a little bit just because you're avoiding LeBron at that point. LeBron and Luka at that point. So I guess a little bit, but because it's so wonky and it's one game and anything can flip it, I just don't think you can take that risk, That's kind of the problem. That's kind of the problem there.
I'm with you, and I mean it certainly is playing with fire a little bit. I just think like the way the Lakers are going right now, I'm a little wary. Again, like we said with Denver's problems, I think there's a little more vulnerability there. But either way, we'll be as we watch this last game of the seeding, we'll be back with a full first round breakdown for next week. But yeah, love it coming down to the last day. Love, if nothing else, that Golden State Clippers matchup is must see TV. And it is on national TV on ESPN, so that's good as well. All right, who's balling, who's falling? Our NBA version of the stock market. We always like to start with the good before we start with the bad. And so, Justin, I will start with you. Who is balling this week?
For me, it goes to Jokic, who becomes the third NBA player to average a triple-double after the other game. He's obviously in the running for MVP this year. Westbrook, who is actually his teammate, is one of the other players, and obviously Oscar Robertson would be the third there. So all that to also pair with the fact that he hit a 61-point double, triple-double in overtime against the Wolves the other day. That is the highest scoring triple-double in NBA history.
Yeah, they lost, as we talked about, which is crazy. They lost that game. Jokic, I mean, it's so tough because we'll see what happens with MVP, because I think Jokic will be a victim of MVP fatigue a little bit. And I think, and it's also because SGA has had a phenomenal season. Like, I don't want to take away from that either. Like, if SGA wins MVP, I'm not gonna be mad at it. But yeah, it's hard for me to look at, given how the Nuggets are going and everything that's happened now, and frankly, how bad this team is with him off the floor. I don't know. Like, he's like you said, a big man averaging a triple double. Like, it feels like he's putting up modern day Wilt Chamberlain numbers. Yeah, I think he should win MVP this year. He's the best player in the league. Just absolutely phenomenal. It is wild. Like, I mean, I remember because Robertson held that record for so long, and he was the only person to ever do it. And then I remember how big of a deal when Russ broke it. And obviously, like, Russ has done it 4 times now. Like, it's almost, that's just become his bag. Yeah. But Jokic being the first big man to do that, not a guard, like, to be able to average 10 assists per game, like, that really speaks to just the uniqueness of his game as well. Just absolutely phenomenal player. There's not much else that could be said.
Mm-hmm. No, you said it best.
All right. Balling for me this week is Luka, 45 points on Dallas as they returned, or as he made his return to Dallas for the first time. Obviously extremely emotional. Like, you saw Luka in the tribute video crying. I think he was struggling to get it together. He said that he didn't really want to play this game. And I mean, look, he went out and gave him 45. it's also crazy because, like, I mean, Luka's in here getting buckets and Dallas fans are cheering for him. Like, it's such a weird relationship, and it just shows, I think, that it's the latest reminder that this was such an unforgivable sin for Dallas. Beyond the fact, like, God, I wish I remember who said this so I could give them the credit, but it was like, it's your reminder that, like, sports fans are a public trust. Like, they're owned by these billionaires, but, like, the community gets invested. They get behind these teams. Like, the Dallas fan base really poured their hearts and their love into Luka Doncic for this past 7 years. Like, and he gave it back. Like, this is a guy who pretty clearly was never going to leave. And then you just traded him for not really good reasons. Like, that's the thing. It's like, we're 2 months later and the reasons for trading him haven't really gotten better. It basically is just like nothing dark and ominous has come out. It's just basically said, yeah, they thought he was a little out of shape and didn't like that he smoked hookah and drank beer. Like, he had you in the finals last year. He's 26 years old. Like, it's I don't think Dallas will ever. I mean, you got to, at the bare minimum, like Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison both got to hit the highway. Like, we got to completely burn it down to start over. But it's like, Dallas has such a long way to go to just do any goodwill with their fans back. And that's not even counting, oh, by the way, like, that Quentin Grimes, Caleb Martin trade is also a disaster. Like, Quentin Grimes has been so good since going over to the Sixers, and Caleb Martin's done virtually nothing. So it's like he has two absolute stinkers in 1 year. I don't think that fan base will ever truly support again until at least at the bare minimum, the front office is cleaned out. Like, I think that's how you started. I mean, borderline ownership. Like, the fact that the new ownership greenlit this, like, why do you want to get behind these clowns?
Well, and all the conspiracy theory reasons you could go down with why they greenlit it and what they think they were trying to accomplish with that. But yeah, man, it just goes back to saying it shows the disconnect between the office, the ownership, and the fan base a little bit, right? There's no way the ownership knew that the fan base would react this bad and still go with it, right?
Yeah.
We'll give him a reason. We'll just say he smoked hookah and we thought he was a little overweight, and they'll be like, yeah, let's move on. Nope.
No.
So, yeah, I agree with you on that. So.
Yeah. All right, who's fallen for you this week?
So I was going to do Anthony Edwards, but we kind of already hit it. He got himself a technical foul Friday night, so he'll be out against the game against the Jazz, which, again, they'll probably win. But it's worth mentioning, like, bro, you're the star, and this game is so important for you, and you are no longer available because you were complaining about a call.
And they're playing Brooklyn. Like, they were going to cream Brooklyn. Like, there's no doubt about it that you're going to win that game. You're right. You got to have the awareness there. And I know, look, we know Ant Barks, this is his thing. Like, I'm not mad at Ant being Ant, but, like, yes, you do. You have to have awareness there. Like, you are, and again, pretty confident they're going to beat Utah. Like, I feel good about that. But if they don't, you're kind of looking at Ant. You're going, dude, we're in the play-in right now. Like, we could have avoided this.
This will be a big conversation if they lose to the Jazz somehow. So with that, I pivot my Fallin to a question.
Okay.
More or less who you agree with should be Fallin in this story. The other night when it was Lakers, Houston, I don't know if you saw this, LeBron came out to do some warm-up jumpers, and he was missing an article of clothing.
Oh, my God. I saw Isaiah Thomas mad about this.
He did not have a shirt on, and Isaiah Thomas was furious. He, hold on, I want to find it. He said, I totally 100% object to this. If I was the GM or coach, I would never let my player walk out on the floor looking like this. I mean, we're a professional NBA league. We ain't Summer League. We ain't the YMCA. I think the professionalism of the NBA league has diminished so much. Look, I like LeBron. I'm a fan of his, so on and so forth. But walk out on the floor before a game with no shirt on and shoot. I mean, come on, man. Where are we at? What are we doing? This is crazy. He also went on to say, Adam Silver, if you want to find somebody, find that man. Find him for not having a shirt on. LeBron did kind of tweet that he was going to say something and then pivoted to congratulating JJ on a 50-win season. So, yeah, here we are.
The LeBron sports talk stratosphere is going to be studied one day. The ecosystem. Did you see PK Subban on ESPN, like all up in arms trying to compare Alex Ovechkin's record, which, by the way, shout out to Ovi for breaking the NHL scoring record. That's actually insane as well. I mean, Ovi breaking Gretzky's record for scoring is as nuts as it was when LeBron broke Kareem's record for scoring. Like, these are two records that a lot of people didn't think would fall, that have both fallen. They're all-time greats in their respective sports who have played for 20 plus years each now. And it's remarkable. I'm like, ESPN is really out here trying to talking about LeBron's scoring record and comparing it to Ovi and who worked harder to get there. They don't even play the same sport. Like, how does LeBron James come up in every conversation like this? It's just unbelievable how much this man has fed the sports media ecosystem. I don't care at all that he was warming up without a shirt on. No one cares at all that he was warming up without a shirt on. You interview these guys in locker rooms and they're naked half the time. Like, what? Who cares?
Do you also, because the conversation did continue with Isaiah, and he kind of went into, like, with the professionalism side, he thought coaches should go back to wearing suits and all that stuff.
I do agree with that, weirdly.
I kind of do too, but the whole take in general felt very get off my lawn, old man.
Of course it is. It definitely. And, like, look, you can have professionalism concerns about the NBA, but, like, LeBron James not wearing a shirt in warmups is not part of the problem.
Talk about Ja Morant, who's over here lobbing grenades into the crowd as a celebration.
I do, like, it's wrong, but I think that's hilarious. Like, I think that's kind of an objective, like, hilarious response. He's gonna come out with, like, a bazooka one of these days. It's just gonna be the full, like, drop, like.
Dude, I just remember, like, Ja was so innocent. All of a sudden, it's like, dude, what?
Well, that's why it's concerning. It's like, dude, you don't need to do this. You know that, right? Like, you're playing in the NBA. That's already cool enough. All right,
this is a hill you don't need to. Yeah, this is a hill you don't need to die on. Essentially.
Yeah. No, for real. Fallen for me this week is Phoenix, and it 2-8 down the stretch in their last 10 games. Like, this was a very open, in spite of everything that's going wrong for them this season. They had a very real shot to make this play-in game, and just completely blew it with basically. I mean, they beat the Spurs the other night. But before that, they had lost 8 in a row against the Thunder, the Warriors, Knicks, Celtics, Bucks, Rockets, Timberwolves, Celtics. So again, that's a really tough schedule to end the season. Like, those are all playoff teams that have played well down the stretch that we've talked about. But that's kind of the point, though, isn't it? Right? Like, here's Phoenix. Anytime it needed to win a meaningful game, they just were unable to do it. And that's really unfathomable for a roster that has Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal on it. It's going to be a huge change of summer, obviously, for Phoenix, and that probably includes Kevin Durant getting traded. But yeah, you went all in for this team, and the fact that you guys can't even get into the play-in game against a team like Dallas, who you said has missed a ton of time, guys have missed a ton of time even after trading Luka Doncic. Like, there's just so many things that went wrong for this team. Like, you're not, again, because of the Luka trade, you're never going to be like, this was the worst season this year. I'm telling you, dude, Phoenix it's rough. They're right there to me with Dallas, with the Sixers, with, I guess maybe like Utah, or like the really bad tanking teams, that it's just a miserable season. But I would argue it's worse given the expectations. There were expectations for this team.
Yeah, I would say it's almost it is worse because of how you have 2, 3 stars, if you want to count them all, and you weren't able to make the playoffs, regardless of narrative, regardless of injuries, regardless of anything. You had those guys and you didn't at least stumble into a play-in tournament is wild. Like, that's a crazy situation. So
yeah, it's bad. There's no way around it. And many things are going to change, but huge disappointment in Phoenix this season. No way around it. All right, shall we play some Immaculate Grid?
Sure. Let me get my tab here opened up. We don't need to share audio, and there we go. All right. You see it now?
Yeah, we're gonna run through this real quick. All right,
Oh,
for the podcast listeners, you can always watch the Immaculate Grid on YouTube. Just search Driving Dish NBA podcast. But for the listeners, our columns this week from left to right, we got the Dallas Mavericks. We got 20 points a game per season, and we got 10 rebounds a game per season. Our rows from top to bottom, we got the Kings, we got the Pistons, and we got All-Star. So anywhere, there's no Elfrid Payton connection. Bad news for you already. We got nothing this week.
I know. It's okay though. We can work our way around it. I think Pistons. Ooh, no. Who did we see in I think it was the same year as, didn't we? No, we didn't see Doug McDermott in the summer games, right? We didn't see those.
I don't think so.
Who am I thinking of? We saw somebody. I think he was drafted by the Mavericks. And Dennis Smith Jr., that's it. Dennis Smith Jr., we saw him in Orlando. He was on Dallas.
He was.
He played a quick second in Detroit. I'm almost positive about it.
No, he definitely did. I was going to get the other one I was thinking of. I'm pretty sure Boban played in Dallas. I think that's the obvious one.
Oh yeah, Boban's a very
the other one that not Boban though, the one I was only because we talked about him a little bit is Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes was obviously played for Dallas this year. He was on that Pistons team last year that was horrible. But I want to go. I think Dennis Smith's going to be super low, so I'm down to go with Dennis Smith Jr. He definitely played for the Pistons a little bit. He got drafted by Dallas, so. A lot of hype, dude. A lot of athleticism.
You know who else might actually work there? Nerlens Noel, just because of the Philly Connect. I kind of know he was on both teams.
He would. We do Nerlens a lot, but yeah. He did there. 0.7, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. I mean, a lot of people were, to be fair. Like Dennis Smith was one of those guys who, just because he could jump out of the gymnasium, I think there was a lot of he was. I thought that athleticism, it was like if he ever can put it together, and he just never kind of put it together.
Yogi.
Oh, Yogi Ferrell. Wow. I forgot about Yogi. Damn, I haven't thought about Yogi in ages. He does. It works.
Yogi works. He might be high, weirdly.
No way. No way, Justin.
Think?
No way. No way. Yogi was like a little popular in Dallas, but like, I forgot Yogi existed.
1%. Okay. Yeah, 1%. Dude, 1%'s crazy. I don't know why I remembered him.
Because he was electric his rookie year. He's kind of a sensation a little bit. And then he just, like you say, he's already out of the league. He hasn't even been a guy that. So damn, Yogi Ferrell's a good one.
So obviously Boogie works for both the Sacramento 20 points per season, 10 rebounds.
Yep.
So does oh my God, what's his name? He's there now.
Sabonis.
Sabonis. I feel like both of those will be relatively high.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we think didn't Zach Randolph went to the Kings for a second.
Zach Randolph did go to the Kings. I don't know if he was playing enough minutes to get
10.
To get to 10 boards a game per season. I mean, the vintage 90s guy that would work for 10 boards a game per season for the Kings is Vlade Divac.
Vladdy's good.
I mean, Chris Webber works for both, I think.
Was Harrison grabbing 20 a game?
God, not with Sacramento, I don't think.
You don't think?
No.
Okay.
I mean, Sacramento guys, I think, with 20 a game are like De'Aaron Fox, Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Boogie. Honestly, Tyreek. What did Tyreek average his rookie year with Tyreek Evans? You think he had 20?
I don't know.
He might have, dude. I think he won Rookie of the Year. I feel like he had to. If he has 20, I think we should do Tyreek Evans there.
I'll go with it if you want. I have no idea. Oh, Rudy Gay probably works.
We use Rudy Gay so much. Does Rudy Gay work for 20 in All-Star?
Dude, is he? Did he get?
Has to be an All-Star, right? He has to have one, right?
I don't know. Do you want to try it and find out?
No, I don't want to try and find out. I feel better about Tyreek than I do about Rudy.
All right, Tyreek. How did you spell it? T-R-E-E?
No, T-Y-R-E-K-E.
E-R-E-K-E. Okay.
Yeah, right there, Tyreek Evans.
Damn,
yes,
he did work.
Right.
Okay.
I was worried about that one a little bit, but I figured with him maybe winning Rookie of the Year, there was a shot.
Yeah. All right. So
Oh
then,
God, it was close to. Good Lord, yeah, he averaged 20.1 his first year and never had over 20 again.
okay.
He had a few
Well,
close, two close ones, Sacramento the next year, but he wasn't quite at 20.
Detroit 20 per game. Obviously, we got some options.
Cade
Uh,
is the main one right now.
Drummond,
Oh
uh,
yeah, shoot, I forgot about Drummond.
Griffin. Blake's got to.
Yeah, Blake
He had that
definitely
40
works.
point. See, yeah, he was. Yeah.
Rip Hamilton, I'm sure works. Um,
Jackson, probably 20, right?
oh my God, I don't know, but he might have just because those teams are so bad.
That's
It's
what
like
I mean. He was
someone's got
doing
to score.
everything. Yeah.
Um, I don't
Didn't
know. So the question is like,
didn't Iverson end up on the Pistons for a
he
second?
did. I don't know if he was averaging 20 by then
That'd
though.
be crazy if he was.
In Denver for sure. By
Yeah,
Detroit,
I don't think so. Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm trying to think of.
Drummond might be an interesting one for 20 and all-star or 10 rebound and all-star. He had to have been an all-star, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was an all-star, and I think everybody's going to use Andre Drummond for Pistons. Like him and 10 boards is going to be the Pistons like
Right.
one
So
for
if we do
sure.
hit one below, there's going to be solo, right? Should we do Drummond here?
Yeah, I would do Drummond there at all-star and 10. I feel like he's going to be super low.
Yeah,
Yeah,
1%. There
1%.
we
Nice.
go. Okay, so now we've taken him off the board for 10 rebounds, but that's okay. Blake probably works there too. Honestly, I feel like Blake's going to be the
Well,
big.
dude, Ben Wallace is the other obvious one that works there.
Oh, yeah. Blake might be an interesting one for the 10 per game because then we can kind of work off the 20. And like you were saying, Ben's going to be the more popular 10 rebound. I think Drummond and Ben will be the two. And then Blake kind of sneaks in there.
Was Blake getting 10 boards a game? I don't feel like Blake was getting 10 a game with the Clippers. Was he getting with the Pistons?
I don't know. I just assumed he was because he's down there. I mean, I guess if he was competing with someone else.
Like, I feel better about Blake at 20 than I do about Blake at 10.
Oh, I feel great about Blake at 20. Like I don't feel worried about
You
that.
want to do Blake at 20 and All-Star?
Well, he definitely did it. If not with the Pistons, he definitely did it with like.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I think we have backups for both. Like, Ben
Okay.
Wallace is chalky, but I think that's there for 10 boards, and I think Rip Hamilton
All right,
works
Blake,
for
at 0.2
nice.
Is
Okay,
crazy.
that's what I'm talking about.
All right. So then 20 points per game, Pistons.
I mean,
Jackson
Cade.
works. Cade.
No, I don't know if Reggie Jackson works. I
Oh,
think
you don't think?
no, I think he's
I assumed he
close,
did.
but like I'm not willing to bet on that. Now we have Cade and we have Richard Hamilton.
Well, you want to go Hamilton then? Because Cade will be probably the more popular one just off him being there right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and oh God, Billups is tough because I feel like Billups is like right on the border, but he wasn't like a scoring guy necessarily in Detroit, where like Hamilton was. That's why I'm like I feel better about Rip than I do about.
Okay, so you want to go?
Let's do Richard Hamilton.
Hamilton. All right, there he is.
Coatesville's finest, baby.
11, not bad. Not.
Oh my God, they got to have to put the mask on him there. How are they going to do Rip like that?
But also, why they give him so much headroom? It makes him
Brandon Roy is like that too. They give Brandon Roy so much headroom on his Immaculate Grid spot.
Up. That's so messed up. All right. So
we didn't even think about the Pistons 10 boards a game, like some of the old guys, like the Bill Lambiers and stuff of the world.
Oh, did we say Isaiah? He probably would have worked for 20 points.
For 20,
right?
definitely works for 20. After we talked about him and all that, we should do that for 10 boards a game for a season. We should go to the 80s. Let's do give the bad boys some love. We should do Bill Lambier.
Lambier.
Yeah, he's got a weird LAIM. It's a weird spelling.
B. Yeah, there he is. Okay.
Yeah.
Lambier 13 is kind of crazy, but okay.
How they give Bill the mask and they don't give Rip the mask? That's crazy.
That's messed up.
Ben would have been high. Ben Wallace would have been higher, I think. I think Drummond would have been real high too.
So then, Kings 10 rebounds. Who you want to roll with? Boogie, Sabonis.
I mean, I'm trying to. I mean, I don't know.
There's got to be. I feel like 10 boards a game is like, as long as you're a center, you get that. And so, like, that's why I'm just trying to think of their centers.
Well, and Chris Webber. Like, Chris Webber's the other. I mean, he was a forward, granted, but like, out of Webber, Sabonis, and Boogie, who do you think is the lowest? Because like they're all kind of. I mean, Sabonis is there now. Webber is arguably the best player in franchise history.
I would go Webber because I bet people when they just but I bet they just go Boogie. You know what I mean? Like that's
no, I feel no, I hear you because Boogie's recent.
Unless they're doing Boogie at 20 points, but I bet they do that. So let's go Webber.
I can see Webber at 20 points too, honestly.
Yeah. So let's go Webber
and Fox. Okay.
21. Okay, so maybe I don't know.
I kind of expected them all to be around that though. Like I expected like those three to all be 20+%. All right, so Mavericks All-Star, Dirk, Luka, Nash. I mean, I think Michael Finley was an All-Star when he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, Brunson wasn't an All-Star when he was in Dallas, was he?
I don't think he was. We should do Luka just to be petty.
It's so petty. Yeah, all right, we can do Luka to be petty. That's fine. I mean, it's gonna be high, but I feel you.
I know, but we're setting a precedent, right? We're taking a stand.
Yeah, totally. Nobody's taking a stand against Dallas so far. All right, yeah, 71, not bad at all. Let's scroll down to most popular answers.
Dirk was the most popular one there too.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. All right, so most popular answer from
rebounds. Sabonis was 10 rebounds.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's on the team right now. It makes sense. All right, so most popular answers from Mavericks and Kings was Harrison Barnes. Kings 20 a game per season, De'Aaron Fox. Kings 10 boards a game, Domantas Sabonis. Pistons and Mavericks. Dennis Rodman. I had zero clue Dennis Rodman was on the Mavericks. I would have never got that in a billion years.
I wonder when he was there. Yeah.
Pistons 20 a game per season, Isaiah Thomas. Pistons 10 boards a game per season, Ben Wallace. Mavericks All-Star, Dirk Nowitzki. All-Star in 20 a game per season, Michael Jordan. All-Star 10 boards a game per season, Shaq. All right, recap our grid one last time for Mavericks and Kings. We got Yogi Ferrell. For Kings 20 a game per season, we got Tyreek Evans. Kings 10 boards a game per season, Chris Webber. Pistons and Mavericks, Dennis Smith Jr. Pistons 20 a game per season, Rip Hamilton. Pistons 10 rebounds a game per season, Bill Laimbeer. Mavericks All-Star, Luka Doncic. All-Star in 20 points a game per season, Blake Griffin. And All-Star 10 rebounds a game per season, Andre Drummond. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. Appreciate you guys as always. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. We'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, TuneIn, Spotify, Amazon Music, anywhere you can get your podcasts, you can find us.
And we're on YouTube. Just search Drive and Dish NBA podcast. That way you can watch a video version of the podcast. Obviously, the grid part a little visual, so you can always check it out there. And you'll get notifications when we are back next time.